We sell in the snack bar during soccer games. We've been trying to raise money to buy shirts.
It felt great. I mean, the dances are a little bit harder than last year. And it's a little bit more fun because we have like more cars and just even have beats.
It felt really dense to know that people might be doing my performance, like what I'm doing. And it felt good to be part of something that is fun. I love camp. It was really awesome. Sunshine, narwhal. I really love the courage hike. I encourage other people to go on and experience nature. It's really beautiful there. There's a lot we can see, and it's so fun. You get to do archery. My experience in science camp was amazing. I loved all the hikes and the food that we had there, and the activities. We had like a night hike and our swimming walk. It was amazing because you just got to see beautiful things out there.
So finally, I would just like to thank the board for approving our attendance to our first ever science camp. And as you can see, our students came back very enthusiastic and just, it was a great experience. So thank you for approving that and for your support. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do for the kids. Really well appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item B, recognition. Nicole Wiseman.
Good evening, Board. I am honored to come before you this evening to recognize Ms. Aniela Hoffman as the 2019 Santa Barbara Bowl Performing Arts Teacher of the Year for Santa Barbara County. She will be honored at the County Education Office's 6th Annual A Salute to Teachers Gala in the fall. Ms. Hoffman will be the first junior high teacher to ever receive this honor. Her nomination was made by the Arianas Junior High staff, with a majority of the staff signing the nomination. Ms. Hoffman is dedicated to enriching both our students and our community with music. She taught music for 18 years, joining our family 5 years ago. During her time with us, she's taught third grade general music, beginning and advanced elementary band, as well as junior high band. She, in addition, directs a junior high jazz band after school as an extended day program. In addition to that, there's just so many things to say about Aniela. She organized with a couple of colleagues through our district as well as Santa Maria Joint an event, a community event, a couple weeks ago called Chords of Compassion. The intent was really to feed the ear as well as our community. And so participants, musicians, as well as attendees were invited to bring non-perishable items to donate to our local food bank. So, with all of that, you can see that she is just an extraordinary human being as well as a music teacher. So it is my honor to present to you Ms. Aniela Hoffman, 2019 Santa Barbara Bowl Performing Arts Teacher of the Year.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you to the board, to the administrators, to the schools, to everyone for supporting band and the performing arts in our schools. I think that not only is it near and dear to my heart, but it's so valuable to our students and our community. So thank you very much.
Ms. Nike White.
I'm here tonight with Principal of Taylor School, Jennifer Loftus, to recognize Kristen Lohr, who was the most recent Teacher of the Year for our district, and also the teacher that we forwarded to the county for their County Teacher of the Year process. And I worked with Kristen on the application that she completed for the county process, mostly just to help with keeping it under the space guidelines. Kristen has an amazing family. She had an amazing childhood growing up. She has lots of stories to tell because she loves science. She loves the hands-on activities that she works with her students on in the classroom. And so as the application asked for examples and vignettes and how did you become passionate about being a teacher, she had so many stories to tell, and they were so interesting that it broke my heart to have to cut some of them just because we had to have it under a certain number of pages. But Kristen was the district's entry for the County of the Year competition, and she was one of the 5 finalists at the county level. And a group of mostly retired administrators from around the county came and did a visitation to her classroom, did an interview with her, just loved everything that they saw in Kristen's classroom and in her passion for her students and for her teaching. And the County Teacher of the Year was selected. It was a science teacher from South County, a high school science teacher. but Kristen definitely represented Santa Maria Bonita well and Taylor School well. And just to make it into the finalist slot for County Teacher of the Year is a huge, huge accomplishment. And we heard nothing but compliments from the county administrators who run the program, as well as those who visited Kristen's classroom. And so Principal Loftus will tell you a little bit more about Kristen and her passion at the school.
Well, I am one of those very lucky educators who get to serve alongside Mrs. Lohr. And I know that she is no stranger to anyone in this room. Kristen is certainly a staple, not just at Taylor Elementary School, but also in the Santa Maria Bonita community. I would have to say that Kristen exemplifies everything that any parent would want to see and hear and know about the teacher who educates their child at school. She champions every cause that she hears of that might have an opportunity to enhance the instructional program for our students. She is a leader, not just at Taylor School, but also in the district, as you know, championing the sciences, leading our district in that aspect, and also at Taylor School as well with the gifted and talented education program. We feel very, very lucky to have Kristen on our team at Taylor Elementary School and blessed to have her working with us on behalf of the students of our district.
I really am humbled by this because I really accept this on behalf of all of you out there, because you know that we all borrow, beg, and steal from each other, and the only way I've been able to come to this point is standing on the greatness of all of you as well. I look back and there's so many of you who have been such a great part of this career and in the process of national board certification and just growing through tracking on and tracking off in the old days. I just look and see your faces and I feel so great that I feel like I represent all of you as well. And just thank you so much for this opportunity to serve this fine district. I've been so proud of the things that we've been able to accomplish in the past. And I really, really hope we can get our act together, because we do not need to slide down a slippery slope. We need to keep going the way we were going with our math scores. And out here, this is the talent. These are the people that know how to do it. And we need to just let them fly. So without giving you too much more, you all are amazing, and we see that you're amazing, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity to represent our district.
Megan Parkin?
Good evening. I am Megan Farton. I'm one of our district school psychologists. I'm also a founding member of the Central Coast Association of School Psychologists, also known as CCAS. CCAS's mission is to assist in the development of sound educational practices in the total school program to promote and adhere to the highest standards of ethics through personal and professional growth, and to foster positive relationships between members of the community, school psychologists, and all allied professionals, all of you, throughout the Central Coast. Every year, the CCAS Board recognizes a couple of school psychologists in the county who have demonstrated outstanding service to students and schools and unparalleled professional dedication. I'm here tonight to present this year's North County Award to Amber Walls, one of Santa Maria's read you a list of all of Amber's accomplishments and all of the letters that go after her name. but I saw the agenda. So I'm just gonna share a couple of the highlights that came from Amber's nomination letter. Amber is not only competent and ethical in addressing the needs of her students, she goes above and beyond to ensure Santa Maria families and schools are doing what they can to support children. She satisfies the requirements, the daily requirements of our jobs, things like assessments and report writing, consultation, attending meetings. She does all of that at the highest level of competence, but she doesn't stop there. Amber serves at the district level through our Helping Minds Committee, and she serves the community through the board of Just Communities. To add to that, and I think just to prove that she's Superwoman, she continues to publish in peer-reviewed journals with her UCSB colleagues. She is more than deserving of this award, and I hope that you will help me to congratulate and honor Amber. Thank you. I didn't really plan to speak, so I guess I just want to say thank you for the honor. I do really appreciate this, and I'm really grateful to be able to work here with colleagues and administration and our students and families, and I really appreciate those that I work with really providing me with more motivation to just do what I can to support the community and to be part of the teams that I've been able to serve on. So thank you for that honor. Thank you for this.
Mr. Brian Zimmerman.
Good evening. So tonight I would like to recognize our school nurses who are here, so if they could please come up with me. They're in the crowd, I saw them coming. So May 6th through 12th is National Nurses Week, and we are very fortunate to have 11 nurses on staff with us that split schools. They each have 2 schools. Tonight we went out to dinner and celebrated their accomplishments and shared a lot of stories and had a great time. They do a wonderful job for our students, and if someone's out ill or something happens, everybody picks up the ball and runs with it. They cover the schools, they make sure the kids are taken care of, and they go above and beyond every single day. And when I took this job, I shared this at dinner tonight, as I said, you know what? When I took the job, Mr. Mueller told me, he said, the highlight of your job is going to be working with the nurses and overseeing them. So I would like to recognize, we have the 3 that are here with us tonight. Some had other things and had to be other places, but the 3 that are here with us tonight: Annalisa McCowan, Carolyn Kleinsmith, and Kim Donnell. Thank you for all that you do.
Miss Ann McDaniel.
Well, while Mr. Bisson is getting up here to join me, I want to just add to the comments about Amber Wolf, because she is our school psychologist. And she also wrote a grant for us that we received from the Health and Wellness Council, Santa Barbara County, for mindfulness. She's done a lot of amazing things at Alvin School for us, and I know she works at other schools as well, but we'd like to call her our own. So again, thank you, Amber. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ann McDaniel. I'm the principal at Alvin School, and Jim Bisson is the principal at Miller School. I'm the Ames president, and that is the Administrators Association, and Jim is our past president. So we get the pleasure of recognizing a Manager of the Year every year. We also will be recognizing the Teacher of the Year along with SMEA at the SMEA dinner. So tonight we want to focus on our Manager of the Year. And we are very excited about this person. And Mr. Bisson is going to give you a few clues about this person, and then we have a theme song to introduce.
Well, without further ado, a true Jedi Knight, the Shaolin monk of IT, our Manager of the Year, Mr. Brian Ricky.
A little late. And actually, this is the second time in our tenure that Brian has been recognized, which tells you how honored he is and how respected he is by the administrative community. So we have some special guests to also recognize Mr. Ricky. I know the kids would like to say something about Dad, but do you have a microphone that they can read? You want to take a back?
Daddy, I love you and I hope you make a good job when you are doing your work. Daddy does a really good job responding to people when they text him.
Thank you. What do you say to that? I'll say this. Yesterday, a teacher approached me and she said, "Gosh, it's really hard." I said, "Yes, that's the honest answer." And I said, "Being a teacher is really hard." And I said, "It's hard when you care. I'm surrounded by a group of people who care. And it's an honor to be given this opportunity to be acknowledged about the work. Thank you to all of you. I do this because I care. And what motivates me is seeing your care. And that's what gets me going every day. So thank you." Thank you.
Okay, item C, calendar of up and coming meetings and events. Retirement reception, Tuesday, May 22nd, 5 p.m., Souza Center. Special board meeting, Wednesday, May 30th, 5 p.m., Souza Center. Junior high school graduations, Tuesday, June 5th, 2018, 3 p.m., Ariana's Junior High School at Santa Maria High, and Fessler at Pioneer Valley High. 6 p.m., El Camino at Santa Maria High School, and Tommy Coons Junior High School at Pioneer Valley High School. Regular board meeting, Wednesday, June 13th, 6 p.m., Souza Center. Open session public comments. This section of the agenda is intended for members of the public to address the board on items involving the school district. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes each person and 15 minutes each topic. If an answer to a specific question is requested, the board president will, if appropriate, direct administration to respond in writing. To address the board, you are asked to fill out a request to speak form provided to the superintendent prior to this part of the agenda. First up, Tammy Williams.
Well, now that I look back on it, I think it took me a few years to get the courage to speak up because I like the little guys. I'm not used to speaking in front of lots of people. And I didn't get the chance to write anything down. I did take some notes. But I just want to thank the board or whoever was responsible for getting us first grade teachers, 3.5-hour instructional assistants. It has changed. There's a lot of first grade teachers out there, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them feel the same way. My aide this year happens to be a student that I taught in 2nd grade when I first started teaching, and it's impossible that I'm that old that she could be in anything like that, but she's amazing, and having somebody else in the classroom has changed the classroom for the better. It's changed the way I teach. It's changed the way I interact with kids. I'm not as stressed out. I don't have as many behavior issues because there's 2 of us in there, and the obvious things is that we can read with them every day, we have small groups, we do interventions, but it's just so much more. Having another person in there has just been amazing, and I hope it continues, and I hope I can encourage it if it's not already in 2nd grade, that it goes to 2nd grade. I taught 2nd grade for many years, and I know a lot of you maybe taught a long time ago, and there were 36 kids in the class, and we went to school uphill facing the snow, but the kids' behavior has changed so much, just in the 19 years I've been teaching, and having somebody in there with us to help us really has made a difference. And just being able to read with our kids every single day, be able to connect with them every single day has just changed everything. So I wanted to say thank you.
Linda Cordy.
Brought my notes because I too get really nervous. So I'm going to pretend that you're 7. See if I can get through this. My name is Linda Corley and I teach 2nd grade at Ontivero School. I would like to start this evening by reading our district ELD mission statement. Our mission is to teach, support, and emphasize the value of English language proficiency for all students and the school community. Our district's mission statement is similar: to teach, to learn, and facilitate learning for all children. Recently, I attended my mother-in-law's funeral, and when I returned to my classroom, my students told me they had 3 substitute teachers in one day. Mr. Hawk, our champion vice principal, was the first sub. Mrs. Clarity, our ELD teacher, was the second sub. And Mrs. Markley, our reading intervention teacher, was the third sub for my students. You must realize by now the impact this day had not only on my class, but on the entire school. This is not an isolated incident. It has happened repeatedly in other classrooms and across the district. In order for us to fully embrace and live by our district's mission statement, we have to stop this practice and put children first. I know you all have heard solutions from Samia for addressing the sub shortage. I have a few more to add to the list. Could we possibly create a tiered pay scale for substitute teachers? If a sub works X amount of days per month, they get the current rate. If they work Y amount of days per month, it would place them in a higher pay category. And if they work more than 50% or 60% or 70% or whatever percent you can think of in a month, then they get the highest amount. This might get subs to want to work for our district instead of neighboring districts. And we could still save money because we didn't have just one salary increase or budgeted amount for subs. Another idea is to take advantage of the partnership we have with Cal Poly. Is it possible that there are juniors and seniors in the education department might want to sub for extra cash? If they file the paperwork and have proper fingerprinting, TB shots, we might have a few more persons on the sub list.
Thank you.
May I have just 15 more seconds? Thank you. So these are just a couple of options to help with the sub shortage. I urge you to not have a fixed mindset with this problem that we've had for years now. Let's be better. Let's do better together. Mr. Ontiveros and all the school board members, I urge you to have a growth mindset and solve the problem now rather than later for children. Thank you.
Thank you. Reese Brady.
My name is Therese Brady and I teach 5th grade at Ontiveros. What is the purpose of professional development? Is it meant to be relevant and meaningful so that teachers are more energized, better informed, highly trained, and motivated? If so, why then is our PD so often repetitive and non-differentiated, leaving many of us feeling frustrated, insulted, exhausted, and left out? Currently, professional development in our district focuses on an end-of-day model. For example, red days, which are from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Thursdays, are at the end of a work day, the end of a week, and we are simply mentally fatigued from teaching to be fully engaged and focused. Plus, that PD is a one-size-fits-all model. ASI, the after-school institutes, are from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock typically, again, at the end of the school day, which means mental fatigue, the difficulty to be able to be focused and engaged. But more importantly than that, it excludes so many people because it's by invitation. Just as an aside, in the month of May, there are several ASIs offered, but with the Smarter Balanced Assessment, end of trimesters and assessments for the district, report cards and CUMES, etc., it's very difficult to be motivated to go to an after-school professional development. Moving on, next generation science standards professional development is happening this summer at Cal Poly. And it looked really interesting to me in the email I got from the district until I saw that the $250 registration is our responsibility to pay, and there's no compensation for attending during summer break. Now, the mystery to me about that is that we have had math and science project partnerships with Cal Poly in the past, and the district paid for the registration and for the attendance. Also, conferences such as AVID and PLC, which focuses on pedagogy rather than content, are paid for by the district or schools and are super expensive with registration, food, transportation, lodging, substitutes if it happens during the school day. Speaking of PLC, which our district now embraces, one of the first tenets is don't sacrifice your family for your students, but with the expectation of ASI after school, or attending Saturdays for, like, if you're going to pilot curriculum, or summer conferences without compensation, isn't the district asking us to do that? Also within PLC, response to intervention, the suggestion is to have it during the school day because that's when you can catch students. You can't do it after school if it's by invitation because too many kids might not be able to attend. May I have 15 seconds? Thank you. So in other words, our professional development is contradictory to the tenets of PLC. In summary, we teachers are expected to differentiate our our instruction. Is it too much to expect the district to differentiate our professional development? Pay for conferences that focus on content and are not tagged on to the end of the workday. Now, I have more, and it's focused on the better model that was inclusive and differentiated in the past. But I'll talk about that another time.
Thank you very much. Jessica Gibonnet.
Good evening, I'll try to be very quick. My name is Jessica Giboney. I teach second grade at Taylor School. And 3 years ago, I left private education in search of more opportunities to grow, hone my teaching skills, and for the chance to collaborate with a larger group of peers. I have had the chance to attend some amazing conferences, workshops, and trainings, and I could not ask for a better group of colleagues than those that I work with at Taylor School. So I'm pleased to say that the district has far surpassed my expectations in this regard. Unfortunately, there is one area where I have continuously felt disappointed, and that is in respect to taking time off during the school year. I can imagine that the demands of coordinating substitute teachers for such a large district is an overwhelming task, and that is not something that I intend to diminish. What I would like the board to know is that the way that our 10 days are handled leaves me personally feeling disrespected as a professional and, more importantly, as a mother. I would love to be trusted and respected enough by the district to decide for myself what constitutes a specific family responsibility. The district may see something like my child's first day of school as something that I must take as at my own discretion, but I see it as a way to show my children that they are important and that I support their education. Ultimately, I did get this day off as a discretionary day, but the act of the district denying that this scenario is a specific family responsibility says to me that the district doesn't care much about my family or the responsibilities that I have to my own children. As a professional educator, I shouldn't have to feel undermined about my responsibilities to my family. I shouldn't have to feel guilty when I realize that a sub hasn't been assigned because I know it means staff at my school are going to get pulled to cover my class, and I most certainly shouldn't feel pressured to lie about the days that I'm taking off. I know this might seem like a simple issue of wording, however, it just speaks volumes to me about the attitude of the district towards its employees. Thank you so much for your time.
Kristen Moore.
Thank you. My name is Kristen Lohr. I'm a third grade teacher at Taylor Elementary, and I would like to comment on a few things. First of all, to thank you to Mrs. Loftus and Mrs. Goda, our administrators, for working with School Site Council to fund our classroom aides, assistants, our educator assistants that come in for an hour to an hour and a half in third grade. It's super powerful. The reading scores have gone up in measured amounts. We collect a lot of data on a monthly and sometimes weekly basis on our students, and we see a wonderful growth because of the same reasons Mrs. Williams commented about in her turn. And I also want to thank Evans and Miss Berry because they personally have taken on training these lovely students from Santa Maria. Miss Kiara and Miss Jackie both went to school in Santa Maria, and Miss Kiara went to school at Taylor. So that's fantastic that we're seeing the fruition of our own students come back into the school district as leaders and teachers. Also, as a SMBSD member and for 21 years of being in this district, and if you add on subbing time, I see these amazing teachers bending over backwards harder than ever to improve and make innovations and opportunities for kids to be successful. In CNI and COT, continuously I see ideas coming up, problem solving. The teachers are really trying to solve the problems of overcrowding classrooms, different types of attitudes. We're working with PBIS, we're working with all these different ways to solve problems and work together. We're really working overtime to make this happen. And I really don't see it happening on your end, I have to say. I would really like the heavy lifting to start happening on both sides. I think it's amazing. Teachers were very frustrated at junior high school students were not getting equity in access to selectives. So what do? Systemically solve the problem to figure out how to make a schedule that junior high students will have the same access to selectives and not be locked out just because they're second language learners. And I know Mark knows that was a huge passion of mine. We sat on COT. So things like that are happening from teachers. Teachers are figuring this out. And there's so many things that aren't our job, like cooling, or bringing in fans, or going outside. We're still trying to solve these problems. Parking, or carpooling. We got on the phones, we called people, we got the bond passed. We're still trying to help. But really, folks, you have to stand up and help us and do the heavy lifting and put the funding into the school where it counts, in the classroom, and as close to the classroom as you can get it, because we are really getting exhausted from solving all the problems that we bring, these great ideas. I don't know how many ideas we brought. In fact, the junior high idea of subbing where people can sub during their prep. Where did that come from? Us. We're continually offering ideas, and we would love to see a little bit of the heavy lifting from your side coming back to us. But thank you for everything we've had so far.
Thank you. Evening board, cabinet, this is one of my favorite times of the year because the school rep's down. We host a Strawberry Social. And so I am here today to personally invite the board as well as the cabinet to our annual Strawberry Social. This year, theme is the heartbeat of our schools. And certainly the classified employees are the heartbeat of our schools. Without them, most of the work wouldn't get done on the back end. And I've heard a lot of talk about the instructional assistants. Those are some of the most amazing classified employees we have. So any way we can get more of those people into the classroom, I think we should be working towards that goal. So give me a moment, I'm going to hand these out, but thank you very much. Well, thanks, Segura.
Good evening, Jose Segura, president of SMEA, third grade teacher at Miller School. I really first want to say I'm always so impressed with the teachers in my district who come up here and they share their concerns, they share their experiences, they come up here and they share their successes, and they do it in such a professional and polite and courteous manner. And I really feel like there's a lot of that missing from the world today. So I'm super, super impressed whenever my folks come up here and they share out with you, and they're just, they're not pitchforks and torches people. They're coming from their heart, and they really are looking to the board to help them make things better in the classroom. Like Ms. Laura said, bring it as close to the students as possible. So I just wanted to say that. I'm also here to give an invitation. Next Thursday, the 17th of May, is the annual SMEA recognition dinner. I sent out an email a week or two ago that went to all the managers. I think I included Mr. Beecher. I'm not sorry, I went to all the certificated folks, but I forgot to include you all, so I apologize for that. But it's next Thursday at the Elks, 5 o'clock, cocktail reception, 6:30 the dinner program begins, and it's our time to celebrate our folks by sites and some of the recognition, recognizing our retirees and all the folks who really just go above and beyond our district. So I'm hoping you all have a chance to make it. Please see me or any of the reps in this building or any of the school sites. They all have tickets for the dinner. So please, if you can, join us. The second thing I wanted to say is that after several conversations with Mr. Ontiveros and some of the district cabinet, we agreed to bring back what used to be a long-standing tradition in this district, which was the beginning of the year association luncheon. When I first started with this district, we would go out to Pioneer Park and have a big barbecue lunch there. A couple of years we were over at the Elks having a breakfast. I hear stories from folks who've been around a while. They tell me we were at the Unical grounds for a few years. And so next year, Mrs. Lord doesn't have enough to do, is going to spearhead the SMEA Welcome Back Luncheon, to be determined the time and the place, but we definitely are planning that for the first few days of the year. And as soon as we have a date and time, we'll give it to you all, so we'd love to see board members there as well. And the last thing was I wanted to let, I don't know if she's still here, Ms. Ortega from Oakley. I went to Oakley, I'm a former Dolphin. And I want to do her one better. She said they brought back, or they started science camp there. What she actually did was she brought it back. I went to science camp when I was at Oakley. It is the highlight of my elementary career. And my sisters and I still tell stories about science camp. And so I was super excited to hear her say that Oakley has gone back to science camp, and hopefully they're going to continue that as a tradition at their site. So thank you very much. Good night.
Item E, approval of agenda is presented. Is there a motion?
I'll move to accept the agenda as presented.
I second.
Ms. Cordero moves, Ms. Flores seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Have a motion?
Move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Mr. Holyhead moves, Ms. Cordero seconds. All in favor? Oh, roll call. Thank you, Mr. Holyhead.
Aye.
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 Aye. Action item 110, resolution 17-19, school nurse day.
Item 110 is a resolution recognizing May 9th as School Nurse Day, which is today. And so for recognizing our nurses previously during the recognition portion. National School Nurse Day was established in 1977 to foster a better understanding of the role of school nurses in the educational setting. And this resolution proclaiming Wednesday, May 9th as School Nurse Day is presented for the board's review and approval. And if you'd like, I'd be happy to share the text of the resolution itself.
We've all read it.
Have you all read it?
Do I have a motion?
I will move that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 17-19, School Nurse Day, as presented in item 110, dated May 9th, 2018.
Second.
Ms. Cordero moves, Ms. Flores seconds. Resolution 17-19, school nurse day. Roll call.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Resolution 1710, classified school employee appreciation week.
And item 111 is 111. Resolution 17-20, classified school employee appreciation week, which, as Mr. Harris mentioned before, is the week of May 20th. Because this is our only board meeting prior to that time, we're going to pass this resolution this evening in honor of classified school employees. And rather than read the text, I'm just going to share an experience that I had that I often share with classified employee groups. As a young administrator, I went to a conference and the speaker shared results of a survey that had been done year after year. And the question asked was, which employees have the biggest impact on children in schools? And as a young principal, I was the one who raised his hand and said, it must be principals. And the gentleman said, no, that's nowhere on the list. The top 3 employees in alternating order are generally school secretary, bus driver, and custodian. And when they ask kids, it's because the bus driver is someone that they see first thing every day. The school secretary is the person they go to when they need an answer to a question. And the custodian is someone they go to when they need something, like when a ball's on the roof or the jacket's locked in the room. And those results have been replicated time and time again in similar surveys. So this resolution is offered to recognize the talent and commitment of our classified employees in all of our schools and across the district in the various departments.
We all know that if you want to know what's going on at the school, you check with the custodian.
Board of Education adopt Resolution 1720, Classified School Employees Appreciation Week, as presented in item 111, dated May 9, 2018.
Second.
I'll second that.
Ms. Forrest moves, Ms. Oliver seconds. Roll call.
Ms. Flores?
Aye.
Ms. Jarrett?
Aye.
Mr. Olmsted?
Aye.
Ms. Oliver?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye. Motion carries that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 1710, Classified School Employee Appreciation Week, is presented in item 111 dated May 9, 2018. Mr. Harris?
Thank you, Lord. See you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Resolution 112, Day of the Teacher.
Item 112 is Resolution 17-21, Day of the Teacher, which is also today, May 9th. This is the 35th anniversary of the initiation of California Day of the Teacher in the state of California. And you know, research shows again and again, base impact on the learning of the child as a teacher in the classroom. And you know, we are indebted to the commitment and dedication that teachers across California, specifically in Santa Maria, Virginia, provide to our students and families every day. And the resolution here this evening is to commemorate today, May 9th, as California Day of the Teacher.
I'll move to adopt Resolution 1721, Day of the Teacher, as presented in item 112, dated May 9th, 2018.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Holliday moves, Ms. Forrest second. Roll call.
Ms. Flores?
Aye.
Ms. Barrett?
Aye.
Mr. Olmsted?
Aye.
Ms. Oliver?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye. Motion carries. That the Board of Education adopts Resolution 17-21, Day of the Teachers, as presented in item 112 dated May 9th, 2018.
And as with the classified resolution, we'd also like to make a donation to the SMBSD Scholarship Fund in recognition of the Day of the Teacher.
Resolution 17-22, Order of Elections.
This is an additional resolution. The statewide general election is scheduled to be held on November 6, 2018. On that date, our school district governing board members will be elected to fill the terms that will expire on December 2nd, 2018. The terms expiring are those of Mr. Lara and Ms. Flores. Resolution 17-22 indicates the date and purpose of the election to be provided to the county board registrar of voters.
I'll move that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 17-22, Order of Election, as presented in item 113, dated May 9th, 2018.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Ms. Cordero moves, Ms. Flores seconds. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flores?
Aye.
Ms. Barrett?
Aye.
Mr. Olmsted?
Aye.
Ms. Oliver?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye. Motion carries that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 17-22, Order of Elections, as presented in item 113 dated May 9th, 2018. Item 114, Resolution 17-23, Candidate Statements.
Whereas item 113 adopts the election, the order of the election, or actually recognizes the election occurred. Resolution 1723 is relative to candidate statements that will be included in the voter ballot. The resolution limits the statement of qualifications for any candidates to 200 words. And so by adopting that resolution, that will be the limit on the statement that can be contained in the voter information pad.
Do you want me to need more words, Mr. Lara?
Do I need any more words?
Yes.
I'll move that the board adopt resolution 1723 candidate statements as presented in item 114 dated May 9th, 2018.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Hollinghead moves, Ms. Cordero second. Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries that the Board of Education adopt resolution 17-23 candidate statement is presented in letter 114 dated May 9th, 2018. One more time. Item 115, Mr. Alvarez.
Yes, item 115 is the last in this sequence. We ordered the election. By the first resolution, the second resolution identified the limitation of candidate statements. Item 115 is the notice of elective offices to be filled in that November 6th election. And on that date, the Santa Bernardino School District Governing Board members will be elected to fill terms that will expire on December 2nd, 2018. Again, representing the positions currently held by Mr. Lar and Mrs. Forrest.
I have a motion.
I'll move that the Board of Education approve notice of elective offices to be filled.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You already know that it's.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
2018, it's okay.
I second.
Ms. Cordero moves, Ms. Flores second. Roll call?
No.
No? Oh.
This isn't a resolution.
No, I'm sorry.
This one is
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That the Board of Education approve notice of elective offices to be filled as presented in item 115 dated May 9th, 2018. Item 210, Mr. Mueller, comprehensive state school plans. Good evening.
Good evening. Safety, of course, is something that we all are concerned about in our community, and it's something that we all contribute to. As every person here in this community cares about our kids and our children and their safety, and it is certainly one of the most important values that we have. We're going to present our safe school plans tonight, but we also have 5 presenters, and they all have shown considerable leadership this year, and I just want to say a few words about them, and they're all very humble, and they're all going to give credit to everyone else, but they're all presenting tonight. So we have Ms. Genevieve Beard, who will be presenting, who's our principal at Ariana's Junior High School. Ariana's, as you know, when you walk on that campus and you talk to the children, you can tell they are supported and cared for by every discussion that we have with them. She'll be able to share tonight some of the innovative programs that they have that are showing also empirical results. But you don't even need to see the empirical results. You can just talk to the children out there, and they're very focused on their education. So Ms. Beard will be presenting, and she will have some of her staff here with her. We have Ms. Cindy Duncan. And we receive many compliments from parents, staff, and students about the climate at Liberty School. And a lot of that has to go to the whole community, but also has to go to the leaders. And we have to commend Ms. Duncan for that, definitely. And she has helped develop, by letting her people flourish, she has developed a very dynamic and innovative cost team, coordination of services team, which is really cutting edge. And these 2 schools are going in on a cohort grant together to coordinate those services between the elementary and the junior high as a model we hope to replicate throughout the district. And we certainly have an all-star team working on that. So Ms. Duncan, thank you for your great work. We also have Gail Burgess. Where's Gail? There's Gail. Okay. Gail is the manager of our outreach consultant program. Gail has been a manager. Gail has been an outreach consultant in Santa Maria for a few years. And she certainly is one of the best outreach we have ever had in this city. And she has continued to help the program grow. And you will also see the numbers when she presents them on the feedback that we are receiving, the growth that the different sites wish to have for the outreach program. But on a personal level, Gail is one of the best at working with kids and students in any situation. If there were something that happened right now next door, we could ask Gail to go take care of it, and she would right like that. And that goes from any situation, from a crying child to the most severe life and death situation. So, Gail, thank you for your great work, and we look forward to hearing your presentation. We also have our early academic outreach program coordinator with Nancy Pacheco. Nancy is truly a role model for our children and our community. She grew up right here, went to Battles, Fessler, Santa Maria High, UCSB, and I'm very comfortable sharing your story that you shared with everyone. Her mom was raised by a single mom, did not receive a lot of education herself, her mother, but Nancy has persevered. She presents to all of our 7th and 8th graders on the importance of education, going to college, career, and college readiness. She presents to our 6th graders, presents to our parents. They value her greatly. They share all of their hopes and dreams and aspirations. And not only is Nancy a role model for our children, she helped get some other role models that presented to our children. She has a little video that she'll show there. And she's also a member of the National Guard Reserves. So, Nancy, we all admire what you do. So, thank you. And presenting tonight is someone who has multiple jobs. That'll be Dr. Zimmerman. He oversees safety, climate. Even though we're all involved in it, he oversees that. Attendance, discipline, nurses, board policies. He'll be bringing one right after this. He'll be bringing a board policy. And everything he does well, he does exemplary, he does it in an outstanding manner, and always keeping the focus on what are the needs of the children. So I turn this over now to Dr. Brian Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mark. No pressure. So I'm going to do just a little bit of talking tonight, and then I'm going to turn it over to the superstars that we have, that we provided here, to share some really great things that are happening in our schools. Okay, so every year we review the individual schools' comprehensive safety plans. They've been reviewed by the school site council, approved by school site council, signed off by either the Santa Maria Police Department or the Sheriff's Office. And the binders have moved. They've always been held up in Mark's office, and they're now moved to now that I'm downstairs and have more space, they've moved down there. So they're all in my office for review at any time. So, components of the Safe School Plan, things that schools are doing to make sure that kids are safe in a positive school environment, to make sure that learning occurs. And we know if students don't feel safe, they can't focus on their learning, so it's important that we keep them safe and make them feel good about school. So, to keep this environment, we measure how kids are feeling with the California Healthy Kids Survey, which is done in every other year with grades 5 and 7. This year, we did it an additional year. We did it last year. This was an off year, but we did it again to collect data on how the kids are feeling in school. Some of the programs we have there, an anti-substance abuse program. We're also looking at grades as another option, as a possibility in the future. We have outreach consultants that implement the anti-bully kit or the bully-proof kit, and junior highs have programs as well. They receive Project Alert, which is an anti-substance abuse curriculum. Elementary students receive 2 Guts for Drugs. We have Red Ribbon Week activities, and school personnel are always trained as child abuse reporting procedures to know when to report things and to have that open connection with CWS if there are issues concerning student safety. We have 3 resource officers, 1 that teaches there and 2 that are assigned to our sites. extracurricular activities to keep kids involved, as well as ACEs, and we have award ceremonies to reward students for a job well done. So some of the things we have, a lot of our schools right now, over half of them are using PBIS, positive behavior intervention support, to build a positive school climate. We work collaboratively with Fighting Back, with truancy mentors to talk to kids about good attendance habits, how to get them here at school, and work with families to really educate them and get the kids here so they can learn and be in a positive environment. We have our outreach consultants, and Ms. Burgess will talk more about that. We have, to teach student resiliency skills, we do work with Healthy Start. We have a good relationship with them, and they help connect our students and families with basic needs. Again, outreach consultants, truancy mentors, and some things for a safe physical environment. We do have monthly fire drills. Every school does it. Each month they have fire drills. We have lockdown drills. We have 2 a year at least, and then generally there's something that's going to go on in the neighborhood or in the surrounding area where we have more. So those practices that we have at the beginning of the year carry over into the middle of the year and end of the year. We always have visitors check in and check out, make sure they're identified easily so that if they come onto campus, we know who's who, and we know that they've gone through the proper procedure to be on campus. And we have, in addition, we have parent square messages that go out to families each day, but in addition to that, we have personal phone calls to make sure that parents know their kids are not in school. So if someone's, slept in and nobody knows about it, they can at least go home and get them into school. All the employees have ID badges, and again, the fencing, that's been around for a while, but another thing to keep positive, to keep kids safe and people from walking on the campus. So some of the highlights for the California Healthy Kids Survey that we had this year is, and again, I won't read it all to you, but just basically a large number of kids feel that they're connected to school, that the adults care for them, and they want them to do well. There are very few, luckily in 5th grade, there's not a lot of kids that have tried marijuana or alcohol, and cigarettes are very low at this point. 7th grade, marijuana grows a little bit, still under 10%. 12% have tried alcohol, and 5% have said they've smoked a cigarette. But again, they have connections to school, know that adults care about them, and there are high expectations when they arrive at school. So now there's interventions that we have when we notice that things happen on campus. I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to have the principal of Liberty come up and describe the cost team, the cost process that they have at their school, something to link kids with services quickly and get them the interventions necessary. So rather than having a forest fire, you have it at a very, very small, like, I don't know what to say. Brush fire before it turns to a forest fire. So they're getting kids services quickly, and I mean, this is something where I've seen, sometimes SSTs are scheduled way out into the year, and kids don't get the services they need until later because SSTs are so active. They come in, they've streamlined the process. You're gonna be amazed at what they're doing. We're trying to replicate this on a bigger scale. So without any more delay, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Duncan, Mr. Barnett, and team. So thank you for being here.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing us to come up and share about something wonderful that's been going on this year at Liberty School. We're very proud of it, and it's an evolving process. And it started out with our SSTIEP team, and then we realized we weren't servicing children as quickly and efficiently as they needed to be served. So with the wonderful team we have at Liberty, they've really developed an amazing process that we're excited about, and we're glad that we get to share with you tonight. So, having said that, if you're part of our Liberty cause, can you please stand up? Just a lot of them. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barnett, our assistant principal, and he'll share with you more of the process, because he's really the leader that gets it all going, but every single member is very instrumental and important, and has made this so successful.
Okay. we like to do data, so we got some graphs, and I just wanted to start off just talking about the SST process. So last year, Liberty School used the student study team process to try to connect kids with interventions, and they had 109 meetings last year for kids as student study teams or staffings, which is like a student study team but the parent is not there. And that, they could service like 109 kids because it's one meeting for one child. And that takes a lot of time, typically an hour or so for a meeting, and you have to have like 3 to 5 staff members go to the meetings, and we pull the teachers out of class, so they miss instructional time during that time, and because those are time consuming, you can usually meet like one time a year for that student, and it doesn't give you a lot of time to discuss any follow-up things or to review and see if we're actually providing the service that we talked about, and then you wait for the next year and you have another meeting. So it's not very efficient, and it doesn't really provide that feedback loop so that you can correct yourself or change if the student's needs change. So this year we decided to try something new, and we sat down and as a group, and we really came up with a process, which it's a cost process, which is coordination of services teams. And you can see on the graph, we went from 84 SST meetings, and we've had 21 this year. And a lot of the 84 meetings were probably trying to get kids into intervention or get them mental health support, and those are things we can do without having a meeting, and we just kind of talk about the child needing intervention, and then we put them in the intervention group. So we don't have to wait for the meeting, we don't have to pull the parents out of work to miss work to come to the meeting, we can just enter them directly into an intervention group. And our outreach consultant is a big part of our group, and we have a marriage and family therapist now at our school, so we can enter kids directly into those programs without having to wait. Usually the teacher makes a recommendation, and we meet every Tuesday, and then we just kind of come around to those programs. Let's see. Oh, we can also meet more than one time a year on students, so typically we'll meet on and we'll put them back on our agenda for 6 weeks later, and we'll kind of check ourselves, did we actually do what we're supposed to do for the child? Is everything going okay? We can look for more information from the teacher. If they need more support, we can add more support right away, and we can just kind of go through the cycle with kids all year. Last year, we had 109 kids that went through the SST process. Actually, it might be a little less. I just added up the meetings, so if they had one meeting per child, it would be 109 kids that they serviced. This year, in our cost process, we've done 106. We're not quite at the end of the year yet, so we're actually servicing the same amount of kids, but it's taking a lot less time, and we're getting the service to them a lot quicker. And we've had a lot of schools come to visit us this year. We were trying to figure out the number, and we lost track, but we know we've had over half of the schools from Santa Barbara School District send a group to our meetings, and we've gotten to talk with them. That's been very helpful for us. We're very interested in evolving our process and changing. This was our first year, and we're very proud of what we did, and we want to continue to grow, and it's been really helpful hearing all the feedback. And Karen? Up to you.
So the costing coordinates a wide variety of services and interventions for our students, and we strive to make data-driven decisions to allocate our resources. This donut shows the services covered, and the costing consists of many professionals, both for physical health, learning needs, mental health, and special education. That involves the school nurse, the psychologist, behavioral specialist, speech pathologists, outreach counselors, resource specialists, intervention teacher, and administration, and it's all with teacher-driven concerns and data collection. We're striving to be more consistent in the data we gather to evaluate our systems, as opposed to the SST process, where we met more just to gather information. We can universally address student needs in all areas of concern when they are brought forward to the meeting, as the relevant member is present to start a planned action. The team is consistent and we can be equitable in our delivery of various interventions, basing them on the data collected. And all data is easily accessible in one place.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Feliciano Rivera. I'm glad I'm happy to be back here again with you guys. I'll be discussing identified needs within our school. But before we do that, I do want to say that one of the benefits that I see in the cost process is that it has made us better advocates for our students. And one way that I see that is that we have been able to take a step back and notice any systemic barriers to learning that our students may have. And here's a list of 4 things that we have noticed thus far this year. There's a few more, but these are the ones that we put here. So the first one, I'm going to highlight a couple. Upper left, you can see that we identified a need as a social emotional support. And so there were more outreach consultants hired. And we have 3 at Liberty, a marriage and family therapist as well in addition to that. And so they serve at least 125 students on a regular basis, besides all the emergencies they take care of on a daily basis. It was also a development site for the crisis response system, which is going to go a little bit wider starting very soon. So again, this is a need that was identified within our site, and we are addressing it or working on addressing it at this point. I'll highlight the bottom right one as well. With the less SSTs, it has diminished one of the main avenues that our teachers had to advocate for their students. And so this is an issue that we see. And so we are working on being more transparent with the information that we have, working on different ways to get input, as well as being able to respond quicker and with more specific strategies to our teachers when they have concerns about their students. So again, it is a work in progress. And like Mr. Barnett said, it's our first year, and so we're hoping that in 2 or 3 years we can have something a little bit more solid, but I think we're pretty happy with our results so far. So all of these, like I said, are barriers to our learning, and so we identify them within our site, and we, like I said, address them or are working on it. But in the same way, we have also identified barriers to learning that are a little bit larger or more district-wide. And while we don't have time to address those here tonight, we do have a little list of them, and so I would be happy to discuss those further at another time, and you'll probably get an email from me with some of that information. Thank you for your time.
I have a question about your slide here, the moving toward inclusive practices. Explain about the Department of Education Diagnostic Center and a SWIFT Center MTSS grant. That's not something I know anything about.
Yes, so I'll start with the bottom. The MTSS grant was what Mrs. Muller mentioned earlier, that together Liberty and Arianes Junior High applied for a grant, and we're getting it, and it's going to work a lot on our supports for students, but also articulate vertically between our elementary school and our middle school. So this is a grant that at the beginning, a lot of it is professional development, and there's, I think, 5 training days set up next year already. And this is through the Orange County Education Department. And the SWIFT stands for something like safe and something that I can't tell you right now. I'll put it on my email and a link for
the MTSS grant. What does MTSS stand for?
Multiple tiers system of sports. So basically like RTI, very similar but a little more evolved than that. Yeah. The other one is a grant that's going to focus more on our students with special needs and allowing our school to have practices that are more inclusive of our students. For example, we don't have different banks or restaurants for individuals with disabilities in our community, and so we're going to work on also having classrooms that are more inclusive. So not having as much separation and segregation in our classes whenever possible.
Feliciano, when you're moving through your process, I think I'm trying to kind of see how it moves. I'm used to SSTs, so in the structure, is there communication? Do you take notes? Do you do the same kind of documentation to format, the sense of support that can be looked at by maybe others, or if the child leaves, those kinds of things are still happening?
There's a lot of communication, I would say, even more so, a lot of documentation, and again, I would say, the way that we're doing it is pretty specific, and you wanna talk a little bit, since he's the one that organizes all the data, but we have a list of students that we talk to, and when you see the list, you click on their name, and it opens up their page with all their information. This information is treated very much like an SST data, and it goes with the students in their tune file wherever they go. Sometimes students move, and I'm sure people ask you for information, and we can electronically send it, so it gets there right away.
No, that makes sense. I was looking at that, and then the actual parent piece in this, how does that, where does that come in? Because I know one of the things as a teacher, you want that help to come to the students as soon as possible. So where does the parent support or information to inform the parents of what's going on happen?
One practice that we're trying to get is that parents should be notified of any issues with their student right away. They should be the first person, whether it's a behavioral thing or an academic issue. So that's something that we're trying to work on, doing that. As far as for us, typically when we meet on a student, we assigned an assignment or something we got to work on. For example, if the student needs glasses, it would be not the best use of resources to have a whole SST to tell the parent that the student needs glasses, right? But if our nurse is at the meeting, we can ask her to follow up with the parent and then make sure that the student gets the appropriate support they need for the family so that they can get the glasses. And then later follow up to make sure that happens. So that's one way that we do it, but there are different ways that we can communicate with parents. Sometimes we have a student that we talk about and we need more info. So we need the parents to come in and we can either have a meeting or have somebody meet with that parent, make a phone call, gather more info.
Do you see it, I don't want to say this, the amount of time it takes to do SSTs is a tremendous amount of time. And looking at the way this is moving for you, is it less time spent with faster services? And then I'm sure it's going to equal to the same amount of time eventually, but you see a progress or maybe a road where you're stopping in the road and things are happening rather than waiting for the whole year to pass and then having something.
Yeah, and as far as time, we take 10 minutes per student. And we didn't start that way.
Okay.
But now we're down to 10 minutes, and sometimes, one of the people, Carolyn's still here maybe? She's our timekeeper. So at the meeting, she starts the timer when we start with the students, and she gives us a 2-minute warning.
Okay.
And most of the time now, we're able to get it down to 7-8 minutes, and then we save those 2 minutes for another discussion.
Okay.
So in 10 minutes, we can identify the need and we can take an action. And then somebody will either follow up with the teacher, follow up with the parent, move into an intervention, or whatever, into a counseling group if we have one. So 10 minutes is where we are now. But it didn't start that way.
Okay, that helps internalize.
And your meetings are during the day, after school?
Tuesdays for 45 minutes.
To do all of the work.
Yeah, typically we see between 5 to 10 students.
I think our March day with maybe 13 or 14, but we were going pretty fast.
Okay.
But typically it's like 5 students. And sometimes they'll just be reviews, so of those 14, half of them might be, we're just gonna say, last week we said we're gonna call the parents about their glasses, and did we actually call them?
Okay.
And then we might say, yeah, we call them, and then we move on to the next child, so that might only take a minute to check in. But it kind of keeps us on our toes and make, because sometimes we don't, we get there and we say, oh yeah, we didn't, we forgot to call, so we just stick them on the meeting for next time, and then we ask again, hey, did you call about the glasses, and then we go on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
And that was the end of our presentation. Thank you.
So next, working? No? Okay, so next we have, two schools that are doing some really great things. So the cost process at Liberty is looking students in with interventions quickly, preventing things from getting, from small issues to bigger ones, they get them off quickly. Ariana Senior High School, I know you probably all remember a few years ago, where it was, things were interesting. So, and I can say, you know, I sign off on every suspension form that comes through every school, every time to make sure we've got everything worked out, it's coded right, everything else. And Ariana's is, I hardly see any anymore. They're doing some really great things. So they're gonna show us some data to show exactly what they're doing and how they got there, and they have some great leadership, great staff, and I'm going to turn it over to their leader, Jen Beard, and her team.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I actually brought part of the presentation that I did last June because Brian had asked me to come in and talk and show some data about what we have done over the year. So I revamped a little bit and added in this year's figures. We'll see that. But one of the things before I come is I always want to talk with the people at my school who are working directly with the students and working directly with the culture and improving it. And so a few other teachers have come here and our counselor as well. And I'm going to let them talk. But what I did do was to provide them with a survey and to give me some feedback. So one of the questions that I did ask them was, how do you rate our school culture? So from the people who responded, you can see that we're actually doing pretty good, but definitely that there is still room for improvement. And that was a staff survey that was actually just sent out this week. Great people to back you up always. And speaking of which, that's a perfect segue. So definitely the success, and one of the things that I love and have really, really felt very grateful to build upon is the amazing staff and the ideas that they have. And two of the teacher-led and student-led campaigns, which have now intertwined and are both teacher and student-led in both of them, are our Nice is Nicer campaign and the Make a Change Club. And I'm actually going to introduce Mr. Roberts, who's going to tell you about the Nice is Nicer campaign.
Hi, my name is Brooke Roberts. I teach history at Ariana's. I've been there for 19 years. I think when I started there was 90 junior high kids, because it was a K-8, and now we're what?
6:30.
30. It's grown a little bit. Last year, I was having a little talk with my class about behavior, which, imagine that, junior high kids talking about behavior. But so I started saying something, I don't remember exactly the words I used, but I said something to the effect of, you know, it's just as easy to be nice as it is to be mean. You can, because nice is, well, nicer. And we thought it sounded stupid, and we laughed. And there's a little girl sitting up there who she had a button, and she says, I have a button, can I make a button of nice is nicer? I said, sure. So I wore it the rest of the year, so I lost it. And then a couple months ago, it's been kind of brewing around in my head all year. I just decided, let's just do it. So I have now passed out 500 nice and nicer buttons to my school. Actually, 400, this is the last 100. And this is supposed to be about school safety and how much safer can you get than if everybody's nice. We're trying. This is what the teachers love. There's no curriculum. There's no extra lessons. All you have to do is just try being nice. And if a kid messed up, you say, hey, you're wearing a button, be nice. It's an easy thing to do. It's simple. It's just, sometimes people need to be reminded to be nice, because it's just as easy to be nice as to not be nice. And I think it's nice enough now. And with that, I'd like to give you one of those.
All of our announcements end with our students and staff who are working on the announcements saying, and remember, nice is nicer.
I should have waited.
No, I think it's good. You know, if you can sell it, I'll put a couple of my grandkids. Oh, we might have a business here. We have people that need things.
I can see my sharp pink now.
Yeah, I know. Well, and niceness is contagious, so we'll keep spreading the niceness. Earlier this year, we had the student organizer the national movement for students to walk out of their schools. And we had a lot of discussions about how are we going to handle that? What are we going to do? And how as a staff are we going to be able to work with it? And when it came before our staff and before leadership, we were actually very divided about the response. And what we did choose to do was to turn it over to people who were interested and passionate about it. Jen Holden was one of the teachers. Morgan Williams, who is not with us this evening as well, was another teacher who decided to move that out to the students and see what it was that they wanted to do. And the Make a Change Club was one. So I'm going to turn it over now to Jen and let her tell you about the club that is still in existence and is still trying to make a change at our campus.
Good evening. My name is Jen Holden. Next time I'm up here, I'm going to have a different last name, but that happens in August legally. So, as Mrs. Beard said, in March, we had a group of students who organized our school's stand on March 14th. And we had 20, 30 kids in a classroom every day at lunch making posters for the victims of the shooting that happened in February. And they led what happened out on the blacktop. And they were very passionate and very moved and wanted to see more positive, continuous change for school safety and student emotional safety on campus. We met with them to debrief a day or two after the walkout. And all of these same students showed up. And they said, we want to continue, we want to do something. And they said, let's call it Make a Change. And we started thinking, what can we do? And we continued to meet with them, and the same students continued to show up, and the same students continued to show up. And then we ended up with a group of, right now we have a group of 7th and 8th grade, predominantly boys, who are passionate and funny and charismatic and really want to see something change about our students' culture. And we have piggybacked off Mr. Roberts' Nice is Nicer campaign and are starting a kindness, although we talked about naming it Niceness Rocks. And I'm not sure if you've seen this floating around Facebook, but you actually get a rock and you paint it with words of encouragement and words of kindness and niceness and put them out as campus beautification, or in classrooms where a student can go and take a rock and put it on their desk for that day as a way to encourage them and to motivate them and to just have students doing something to make a change. And we are going to continue this next year with myself and the co-advisor, Ms. Williams, as we really work with the students to let students have a voice in social justice and let students have a voice in making a change at our Junior High.
So there's a quote on the bottom, and it was a quote from one of my teachers when I asked them, what do you think, or where do you think this positive impact of this change came from? And what they said was the relationship of the staff with each other and with the students has a huge impact on the school culture. And I think that really is part of the secret to our successes that we are seeing. So our discipline data at a glance. In 2015-16, the total discipline referrals, which include suspensions, was 2,913. Last year, when I gave a very similar presentation in June, it was 1,023. Now we're a little bit earlier. We still have about a month to go. But I'm going to remain positive because right now, or as of last night, I won't say 10 o'clock, I'll say maybe 7:30. We were at 741. So as of, we're down about 282 from last year and 2,172 from 2 years ago. Now, you know, data is meant to be interpreted, and I do want to let you know that we did add in a kind of a half last step, what we call the school rule violation, which does impact the number of total discipline referrals, but that was added between the 15-16 and 16-17 year. So we're still seeing some success in that. A few of the very specific categories within there that have not changed, would not have been affected by the school rule violation, is fighting and threat. In 15-16, there were 169 incidents for students who were cited for that. Last year, we had 37. This year, we are at 46. So still, we're down 123 from 2 years ago. We are up 9 from last year, so we'll be kind of looking and talking about that. And then our last category, disruptive, defiant, or it's actually supposed to be verbal disobedience, sorry. We were at 2,471 incidents. Last year we were at 930, and this year we were at 283. So still enough left to go. Still a little bit of testing left to go, but we're down 647 from last year and 2,188 from 2 years ago.
Do you find that there's more 8th graders or more 7th graders, or did you look at that data at all?
I did, and our area system is really great about breaking it down. It breaks it down into male and female as well. When we're looking at total discipline referrals, fighting and threat, and also the K offenses, disruption and defiance, we are looking at a greater number of 7th graders over the past 2 years. And it takes them a while to get used to us. And I think that is something at the junior high level too that you find as more of a trend, that the 8th graders, especially at this time of the year, are very not compliant, but very excited and happy, and are very ingrained within the school culture. So a few of the comments that came back on the survey, I love the one in the middle. I thought that was great. Is what do you attribute the positive aspects of our school culture to? The one in the middle, substitute teachers love to come to our school because they can feel the love as well. And Y Tribe, which is our social emotional curriculum, helps too. Teachers and administrators support each other. We work as a team. Teachers and staff really care about the students. We lead by example. Referrals tend to be handled quickly and efficiently, so the kids receive their consequences close to the time of their misbehavior. And by consequences, it's not always detention. We've also instituted a lot more community service, where they can give back, where they can earn, and where they are working with an adult as well to be able to make some positive changes. We do a lot of conflict mediation as well. But conflict mediation not by itself. Conflict mediation with also consequences, or definitely a way to improve and a plan for action. Few other things I said. We have multiple resources for students, counselors, admin, teachers, support personnel, increased student supervision. And in the long run, I love the staff at Ariana's. Each person is unique and cares about the emotional and academic needs of our students. The subject departments are always overlapping. There are no cliques of people trying to outdo each other. Everyone sits together at the table, always talking and listening and helping each other. The administration is so supportive in every aspect, student discipline, rewards, and listening to teacher input. I feel the awesomeness is sustainable. When we get new staff, they can observe how beneficial it is to work harmoniously with other staff members. You can feel the nice is nicer attitude. We do have a few contagious things. And you've noticed the support that we have. One of the things we also love are t-shirts. Wednesday is Math T-shirt Day. We also, Mr. Rice, who is our tech expert, also can create a t-shirt for anything, and we're very good about creating a lot of t-shirts. So we make that support and the niceness visual. We talk about it, we work with it, and the staff definitely models it. And there's still more. I won't read the exhaustive list, but there's a lot of different things that we do when we try to bring in definitely multiple programs, multiple modalities, multiple people. Our youth service specialist is with us for a second year. Our family outreach advocate, who is here with us this year, is amazing and has really increased that positive and interactive parent communication. Our marriage and family therapist as well serves our students with greater needs. And the other thing we do is a lot of additional clubs, a lot of additional learning activities, and we have fun. Do you have any questions? And you're welcome to come up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen and team. Next, we have Nancy Pacheco, who's part of our early academic outreach program, and her counterpart Eunice also works with her. They talk to kids about getting ready for college, taking that next step. They've been part of our Pathways to Success meetings that we've had all 4 junior highs this year. We've had a lot of good positive feedback from that, and I will turn it over to Nancy Pacheco.
Good evening, board. First of all, I'm going to make this quick because I also want to have an opportunity to show an awesome video that was shown at the Pathway to Success event that was given for all of the 4 junior high schools. So our acronym is EAOP, which stands for Early Academic Outreach Program. But for tonight's meeting, I took the liberty to create a new definition for EAOP, and that's education, awareness, opportunities, and parents. So we see that one of our key partners during our services and wrapping around the themes that we want to present to our students start with our parents. So throughout the year, we are at the 4 junior highs. I serve Ariana's Junior High and El Camino Junior High, and my counterpart, Eunice Gonzalez, she serves Fessler Junior High and Tommy Coombs Junior High. Throughout the whole year, from the very beginning to the end of the year, we give 4 exact presentations, or the same presentations to all the students at the district. So we have, for our 7th grade students, we talk to them about learning how to get organized at the very beginning of the year, skills to make sure that they turn in their homework on time, always with the theme of how is this going to help me get to college one day. And as we go along, we start talking a little bit more about college. Then once we get into the 8th grade, we start introducing them to financial aid, scholarships. So all those big terms, but in a very, very clear message. And Eunice and I are very lucky to have attended schools here at the district, so we always share that with our students. We tell them, we sat in your same seats in elementary and junior high. We went to the high schools in your community. So if we can answer any questions you have, or we can provide you with all the resources that we took advantage of, we know you can get to college one day. And also, we make sure that we don't just keep it 4-year colleges away. We also talk to them about going on to community college, going on into a trade school, because we understand that all students are very different and they all see success in very different ways. And so throughout these presentations, we're sprinkling a little bit about our experiences, and at the same time giving them information about college requirements, about how they're going to use all this information when they get to high school. So the thing that we've noticed is that as we have seen, we've been here at the district for 3 years now. Prior to us, the last year was in 2010, I believe, where EAOP served San Maria Bonita for 1 year. So now we've seen our 7th graders that we started with are now at the high school. So the enrollment of EAOP students at the high school has increased because we were able to hand them off to the high schools. And the advantage of being an EAOP at the high school is that they have an additional counselor, which is our EAOP coordinator,
to guide them throughout the whole entire 4 years and eventually apply to a four-year college at the end of their senior year. So in addition to that, we're giving classroom presentations throughout the year, as well as we integrated a workshop for parents. So these are bilingual workshops where we in a very simple way, explaining to them why is it important to come to conferences. We start them off by introducing them to Aries and the parent portal, so that they can learn how they can track the students' grades, any referrals or anything of that sort. And also it's explaining how they can be part of the whole process and how our parents, being from a very low income, working in the fields, how our parents were able to help us create a learning environment at home and work together with the schools and administrators. So now I'm going to turn it over to the video, and we had, with the help of Mr. Mueller and a big team of supporters, especially teachers, we put together an assembly where we kind of wrapped up all the messages we had given throughout the year, and to tell the students, these are the people in our district who support you, and these are the dreams we have for you. So, I will put that up.
Hi, my name is Christy Ortiz, and I'm a teacher at Jane High School. I teach both PE and health. So growing up, my mom, she was a teen mom, so she had my oldest sister when she was 16, turning 17. So she actually dropped out of high school 5 credits short of getting her high school diploma. I'm not sure why she never went back, but she was focused on raising my older sister. She may not have made the best choices relationally. None of our dads were in the picture. And we saw how much my mom worked and how much she sacrificed, and she always did push us to do our best, and we didn't want to make it harder on our mom, who was already working hard.
My name is Brenda Silva Palacios, and I've been here for 11 years and I teach in 8th grade. When we first came from Mexico, we shared an apartment with another family, so I had to share the room with my whole family, so sometimes I had to sleep in the sofa, they didn't have a place, to do my homework, to do my work. So that inspired me to, at some point in my life, have my own house, continue with my education, have my own room, and then, provide a better for my family.
My name is Benito Camarillo, and I work for my company, Mr. Collision, we work in NG project. I was 12 years when I came to the United States. What motivated me to continue my education is when I got here, I was afraid to go to school because I didn't speak English. My mom was like, you should go to school because, I don't want to take you to the strawberry. And I thought about that, but then, so I said, okay, I'm going to go to school, even though I was really afraid to go.
My name is Ana Mejia. I'm a free teacher. I was born in Mexico. I was born in Zamora, Michoacan, Mexico, and then I was brought into the country at the age of 4 without knowing any English. So they always emphasized school. My dad always emphasized it because they didn't get to graduate from high school. So he always encouraged us to do well in school, to use this opportunity to be in this country, and make the best of it.
Education is important because just like Mr. Mark Mueller would say, Monday through Friday at elementary to junior high, education is the pathway to success. The more education that you do receive, the more doors open for you.
Education is important because it gives you many options in life. There's a whole different world outside of Santa Maria, and you won't be able to experience that world without an education.
Education is important. It really opens up your eyes to different things that you can do in life, and sometimes jobs that you don't even know about, you're exposed to, so it's really important to just seek out your career advisor or go on different field trips to explore different campuses. Sometimes you don't know what schools are out there, what programs you might be interested in. So just taking different electives, different things that you might be into or don't know you might be into, but then end up loving and finding a passion, and then that's what you want to do. You want to work something that you're passionate about.
Don't be afraid of failing.
I know I failed so many times. I wasn't the straight A student. If anything, I was a B and C student. But because I failed with classes or homework assignments, I knew I had to try harder, and because I tried harder, I succeeded. Things that don't come easy, you really have to work hard for them, and along the way, there will be obstacles, there will be things that kind of get in your way, and you feel let down, or you feel, upset. Sometimes, unfortunately, things happen in our family that, are do kind of bring us down. But we have to really try and be strong, really try and find a way to overcome that. Ask for help, ask for a counselor, ask a teacher for advice, just really reaching out, knowing you're not alone.
If you're looking at your past and thinking, oh, I had this to me, my dad left, or my mom, she's just low income, I told you myself, we were low income our whole life, we didn't have those things. I remember still getting, called down because I had a 4-stripe Adidas, and we got a 3-stripe. But you know what, I was content with where I was at, and I knew my mom struggled, and I wasn't always going to be in this place. I wasn't always going to be stuck. It was my choice to do my best academically, getting involved in sports, getting involved in the community, and really helping each other, being a great friend, having healthy relationships.
Don't feel like it's not possible. Everything's possible. Anything they set their mind to is possible. They just kind of, I guess, the thing is like have a plan, visualize what they want out of their life. Kind of think like 5 years from now, where do they see themselves? And start making a plan. It's okay not to know what you're going to end up or what kind of job you want. It's okay not to know right now. It's okay not to be 100% sure, but it's never too early to plan. So start thinking about it. Start thinking like, what kind of job would I like to do?
I am Yanni. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid of asking for help. Be yourself and be happy.
My name is Don Mendez, and I encourage you to never give up. Always try. There's no room for failure unless you don't try.
I am Mrs. Rodriguez. Don't give up. I believe in you. We, the teachers and Santa Maria Bonita School District, believe in you and know that you will fulfill your dreams.
My name is Benito, and I went to El Camino Junior High, and with all my heart, I believe in you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Rubalcava. I want you to know that I believe in you. You can achieve your dreams. Si se puede, and have a positive mindset. You got this.
That you're more intelligent than you realize.
Wants to take over. So just want to mention 2 more things. One of my points is we work on a lot of collaboration. So we work with agencies in our county so that we can provide extra resources and more information to our parents and students. So like any scholarships that we can get out to our presentations for our parents, we bring them along. And also the support of our administration at the junior highs and the staff is none of the work that we do would be possible without their support. At the very beginning of the year, I sit down with Ms. Beard and then we talk about the 300 plus presentations we're going to give. And the teachers do give me about 45 minutes per presentation. So they give up their class time so that I can come talk to the students, and I know that's huge. So thank you so much. I won't add data, but thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed the video. I was beginning to feel old there because I remember Chrissy running up and down on the bleachers when she was like 2 or 3. So it was good to see some of these people, your successes.
I still see her running on the bleachers.
Yeah,
Students every day
every
now.
day. Yeah.
A number of those,
Unbelievable, gosh.
yeah, a number of those were our family outreach advocates that we saw, Noe, Jasmine,
Yeah.
Lee. So we've, so our final piece of this is our school outreach consultants. I'm gonna have, we have Steve DeLear here. I'd like to recognize him. He's the head of our family service agency that we work with. So Steve, thank you for being here. And we we talked about earlier, who does a phenomenal job, super veteran outreach consultant. She's going to talk about the impact that the school outreach consultants have. And talk a little bit more about the program. But as you heard, Liberty has 3 because there is a need for these kinds of things, for the kids to feel safe, for the kids to feel good, and to be able to learn in a positive environment. So, right here.
Good evening. I wasn't nervous till I got that big introduction, so I'm a little. This is SMBSD at Liberty. You can only with a computer, otherwise we'll delete everything. So we have lots of services through the Outreach Consulting Program, but over the 30 years that I've been around, we've done individual and group school-based counseling, parent support, and classroom presentations, which are actually making a comeback the last couple of years with Second Step and Too Good for Drugs really impacting the classrooms with that. And the anti-bully, the bully-proof kit, we've been using that too. So there they are. Too Good for Drugs in grade K through 6, bully-proof kit, grades 3 through 6. Second Step, which is social skills, in grades K through 8. We assist with food, clothing, and shoes through the Sunray Valley Family Center, Family Service Agency, through the school district, Healthy Start, and through the Shoes for Students, the SOS. There's a lot of support for that. As of January 2018, there were 27 outreach consultants in the school, and since then we've added a few more. So we now have 29.5 positions in the schools, and we are still adding more for next year. I have a stack of resumes to go through. The breakdown is one school has 3 outreach consultants, 5 schools have 2, 5 schools have 1.5 outreach consultants, and in the blue bar there's I think it says 9 schools have 1 outreach consultant. And those principals have started calling saying we would like another half person or half-time position or another full-time. So we're working on that for next year. So we have referrals for the students, and so at the end of last year and through Christmas, Elizabeth Sotero, obviously Alvin and I sat through and went through each referral, kind of documented what every student was referred for. And we had about 1,600 students referred through the 20 schools. The top 4 reasons, social skills was about 29%, disruptive or disrespectful behavior was 28.5%, easily upset, 28%, and family trauma was 28%. And then the number of hours spent in the outreach program, this has been pretty consistent over the years. We usually see a student about 30 minutes a week. But some students we might check in the morning every day or twice a week, or they're by themselves or in a group. So we have the consultants kind of check off how much they saw each student. So from half to 1 hour is about 8%. That was kind of a one-time shot, or they're upset today, something's going on, we'll see you next week, and then they were kind of good to go. So it was about 122 students. 2 to 6 hours was about 38%. So we saw a student for about 2 months. That was 622. 7 to 12 hours, about 31%. That was about 500 kids. And then more than 12 hours, where we might see somebody every week for a year through the school year to support them, about 268. And then we did some behavior evaluations, just very brief, basic. Whereas the behavior much worse, worse, no change, better, or much better. So we did have 14 students were worse. 1% were much worse. And then 2%, about 31 were worse. And some of that might be they moved schools, they bounced around to schools, a big change happened in their home. So there's always, there's a reason why some of that's happening. No change was 346. Better was 54%, 871 improved their behavior, and much better was about 307. So those numbers we're hoping to improve with more help on campus. That's the last one. I do want to point out I have some of the outreach consultants in here. I have Cruz, who's at Liberty, and I have Laura, who's at Liberty. Martinez, who's just started Arizona's junior high a couple of weeks ago, and she's worked with youth for over 30 years, so she has a lot of experience. We're happy to have her on our team. And then I have Peggy in the back. She's been around a while. She's at Adams School, and she was at Arizona's elementary junior high for a long time too. And I have a lot of people on my team, and that's how our program has done so well. Mark said some nice words about me, but it's because of a lot of people in this room that I've known for a long time that have supported me. I worked with Mrs. Flores, Mrs. Cordero at my school, Icona Barros, for 15 years. I worked with Mark, I worked with Ms. Grady. I work with Jose now, Mr. Bisson, there's a lot of people in here, Terry Coda. Supported me throughout the year, that has given me the confidence to say, let's get this program going. And now it's kind of running rampant, and I'm really proud of the team because, yeah, we're everywhere and we're just growing. So thank you for your support too over the years.
Anybody like to make a motion or have any questions?
Ms. Brian, are you finished?
Yes.
Good question.
Just checking. I will move that the Board of Education approve the comprehensive safe school plans as presented in item 210, dated May 9th, 2018.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Carroll moved, Ms. Flores second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That the Board of Education approve the comprehensive safe school plans as presented in item 210, dated May 9th, 2018. Item 211, approval of administrative regulations. Mr. Zimmerman.
Thank you. So I think in our last meeting, we approved 10 board policies and administrative regulations. There was one that instituted practice was it. So this is the final one for our FPM, and we are done. This is the AR that goes along with the board policy 5145.7, sexual harassment of students. So it spells out that I'm the one in charge of Title IX compliance and uniform complaints. And behavior that has a negative impact on academic performance or creates a negative environment is what is considered sexual harassment. There's some changes to the language. Instead of using the word school for sexual harassment, it encompasses any district program or activity. So it's widening the scope of where we. It's kind of like if there's a incident, like a fight that were to occur. It doesn't have to be on school grounds. It could be a school activity, and students are held responsible. So same thing holds true for sexual harassment. If it happens as a district program or activity, like it is a parent night or something happens there, students will be held accountable. When you start looking at the updates to the administrative regulations, they are adding more terms to sexual harassment, including physical, electronic acts, so that could be, by phone, images, things like that. And it also, it takes a wider, broader scope on sexual harassment outside of school, and it does include that it will be a violation of district policy if when students return to school, it creates a hostile environment for them there. So if it's something that happens over the weekend and spills over to the school, students can be held accountable for it. So this next section talks about reporting and complaint investigation resolution. It needs to be reported to a school employee within 1 day. It has to be reported to the principal. And we have to investigate even if the victim doesn't want to file a complaint, so it doesn't need to be dealt with. If it's an off-campus event, again, principal administrator will determine whether or not it's creating a hostile environment in the school and make the determination of how discipline will be implemented. So if it is determined that it will create a bad environment, it will be treated just like it happened at school. If it's an informal or verbal report of sexual harassment, they will, principal will let the parent know that they can't file a written complaint or uniform complaint. That is one of the components of the uniform complaint process. Is there is a lot of it's based on if there's discrimination. We'll let them know that they can file a uniform complaint if they wish. So principal will investigate this, and we'll take action to stop it from happening and prevent it from reoccurring. And as I talked with my own students as a principal or assistant principal, it was one of those things that we start at the lower levels, and if it progresses, there's increased consequences as we go through it. Mentions that if there's, during the investigation, that if there's past sexual relationships, and this, again, this, the junior high level and elementary shouldn't be as big of a concern as older levels, but the sexual relationships with the victim won't be considered. And if there is sexual harassment that involves a principal or compliance officer, it goes right to the superintendent, because I'm the superintendent's designee, so who will investigate the complaint. And with confidentiality, we try to keep it as confidential as possible, but it also limits our ability to, I mean, we need to be able to investigate as much as we can, so it may limit our investigation depending on how much confidentiality is requested. So, and that's what the next bullet says, is we will inform them, I will let them know that if there's a lot of things that need to be confidential, it may limit the scope of the investigation that will take place. Okay. If there's the victim request to not pursue an investigation, it's one of those things where we will determine whether or not to honor the request, because our job is to make sure that there is a safe environment for students, and if it's going to jeopardize the safety of students, we will override the request to not investigate it, and we will pursue it. And when there is an investigation of sexual harassment among students, we do need to take interim measures to make sure the kids are safe. So it means separating kids to make sure that they don't see each other until the investigation is completed. Those kinds of interventions need to take place so the kids feel safe during that process until there is a resolution. And then we need to make sure that the victims are aware of different resources that are available on campus, off campus, and we provide that to them. Notifications, these go out each year in our annual notifications to parents. We are posting them, again, you'll see them out here in Sousa Centers, the ones that have been approved are out here, as well as every main administrative building on every school site. And policy is posted on, will be posted on the district website. Again, this is all part of the FPM process that we did. And that's all. Are there any questions?
That's enough. So that's enough.
Okay,
That's a big one. That was a big one.
Any questions or motion?
Make a motion or recommendation that the Board of Education approve board policy and administrative regulation as presented in item 211 dated May 9, 2018.
Second? Who will second? Yeah, I'll second. Mr. Holliday. Ms. Flores moved, Mr. Holliday second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That the Board of Education approve board policy and administrative regulation as presented in item 211 dated May 9th, 2018.
Brian, I just have a quick question. There's not a real sincere timeline on this stuff, is there? Because a lot of the timeline stuff is taken out.
In regards to like investigating a complaint?
Yeah.
It's as soon as it happens, it has to be reported, I think one of the ones, it has to be reported within 1 day.
Okay.
But you have, yeah, has to be done in a timely fashion.
Yeah, because all of the other things were out of here, the 2-week process within 2 weeks.
Uniform complaint is very specific, 30
Okay.
days, this is, yeah, but this is, you have to have it done and reported within 1 day.
Thank you, sorry, I didn't get you right back here.
At least that's.
Right, that's what I was noticing.
Item 320, public hearing, the Education Protection Account, EPA 2018-2019 is open for public comment. 8:17. Nobody speaking? Hello?
Refresh your map.
Hello. Item 321, resolution 1724, the Education Protection Act, 2018-19.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So the Education Protection Account, EPA, Prop 30 was approved back in 2012 to temporarily increase the state sales tax rate for all taxpayers and also personal income tax rates for higher income taxpayers. A provision of Prop 30 creates in the state general fund education protection account to receive and distribute revenues derived from incremental increases in taxes. So the district received these EPA funds based on proportionate share of the statewide revenue. A corresponding reduction is made to the district's LCFF revenue equal to the amount of their EPA entitlement. So these are not new dollars. The EPA funds simply reduce the amount of other state funding that the school receives. So as required by the EPA, the estimated deposits and expenditures for 2018 are revenue of $19,694,708. And our expenditure is that exact same amount also. And with the EPA, all the expenditures are required for instructional services and must not be spent on administrative costs. So that's what we have in the budget. So in order to collect the funds from EPA, the district must have a public hearing and a resolution. One thing with that, in 2016, the sales tax increase did end, but also in 2016, there was Prop 55, which was voted on and approved, and that extended the higher income earners tax through 2030. So with that, in summary, the public hearing and the resolution from the EPA is presented and meets requirements outlined in the California Constitution.
Questions, comments? Make a motion?
I'll move the Board of Education adopt resolution number 17-24, the Education Protection Account 2018-19 as presented in item 321, dated May 9th, 2018.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Ms. Cordero moves, Ms. Flores seconds. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flores?
Aye.
Rivera? Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Adopt resolution number 1724 as presented in item 321 dated May 9th, 2018. Item 322. Resolution number 17-25, membership in the school projected utility rate reduction spur purchasing corporation.
Good evening, Board. This resolution is being brought forward to you this evening to allow the school district to join the SPUR purchasing cooperative. Through this purchasing cooperative, the district can benefit from purchasing programs related to utilities, telecommunications, and network equipment. Specifically, this is before you, as our current telephone or VoIP contract will be expiring in July. We've been researching different options currently available to us, and one of the vendors we are interested in partnering with has a competitive pricing available through this purchasing cooperative. And that pricing is slightly less than the cost of our current partnership. So in addition to being slightly less expensive solution, it also is going to bring us some new features not currently available to us. Probably one of the most important, as we experienced a phone outage yesterday and the week before. They have some additional options for building some better redundancy than we have currently, which is obviously very important when it comes to that. We are currently doing a proof of concept with this vendor within our IT department to make sure the system is completely reliable. Once completed, we plan to do a second proof of concept that will allow us to identify any additional needs for support that might be experienced at a school site. So the second proof of concept will occur at one of our school sites. Your adoption of this resolution does not bind us to any decisions this evening, but it just opens up a viable purchasing method if we decide to partner with this new vendor. What questions can I answer?
Is this at a lower rate when you join this as far as